Live from the Icebox Studio in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, it's the Bill and Corey Show.
I'm Bill.
And I'm Corey.
Welcome back. This is live episode number 65. So we're creeping up that magical 100 syndication thing.
Yeah, syndicated soon.
Yeah, and this week is special. We're going to talk about bicycle pumps.
Yeah, exciting.
What does this have to do with anything we got? It's an old pump. It
It
works really great. I
Goes to
love it.
160. That's a pretty good pump.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we're talking about, first question is going to be about adiabatic compression. I'm like, what's that? That's like the heat you get when I don't have a tire to pump up. Didn't think about bringing it in. But when you pump up a bicycle pump, it gets hot. Bicycle tire. Right. You pump the pump, you inflate the tire,
Yes.
it gets hot.
It gets warm. Yeah.
That's adiabatic compression. So how does that play into things? Well, the first question, no, that's not the first question. First question, someone had a question on the 2210 series regulator, that's this regulator, about going from 2400 PSI down to 10 PSI.
Well, good news, though, is that it doesn't go down to 10 PSIG like that, right?
Right. Well, it's a bunch of different things going on here. Well, it's a two-stage regulator.
Yes.
So it bumps it down from 2400 PSI down to like
125 to 150.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then the first stage, and then it bumps it down to 10 PSI. I don't know really call it bumps it, but well, anyways, they're concerned about adiabatic compression. They're using and they want data testing or compatibility. Okay. Now,
why are they concerned? What gas is it, Bill?
yeah, that's where when people,
we'll get there, we'll get there.
it's funny. I didn't even have to ask the gas, but when people talk about adiabatic compression, I think of oxygen service, because that's an issue with oxygen. You can have if you get adiabatic. So if you get
Heat.
high velocity, it has to do with pressure and velocity. Basically, at high velocity, and you can get, if you have particle impingement, that's like, think of a little
corner.
little thing, a little piece of dust particle,
Yes.
zips down there at high velocity. You can create enough heat from adiabatic compression to ignite metals like stainless steel.
Yes, and oxygen pure oxygen will burn metal if it lets.
And most people think oxygen, hey, it's in air. It can't be dangerous. So in air percentages, it's really not that dangerous.
No, not at 20%. I mean, when the dinosaurs were around, apparently it was up to like 30% at that time.
Okay.
So it's
See?
a little bit different.
So if we get higher levels, you can support combustion. They had, and things you want to do to, so you could get that on this regulator.
So there's testing.
Well, you could do that on any regulator, adiabatic compression.
But there's a CGA test.
Yeah, the CGA, right, CGA E4
There you go.
is the standard for pressure regulators. And it has part of it has a bunch of different things in there for testing regulators. One of it is a adiabatic compression test.
Or the ignition test.
They call it the ignition test, right? I guess you read up on it.
I did. It gave me the
So
material.
it's kind of scary because the diagram they show, it's like behind brick wall. But they have basically it's an oxygen cylinder, and they have a fast opening valve, and they've got a certain length. It's about a meter length of tubing for cylinder regulators, and 1/4 inch or something like that. So they open I'm guessing a ball valve or something.
Yeah, something
so you got
quick open.
You get a pressure regulator at, a cylinder pressure of about 2,000 PSI. They let open that ball valve, and the oxygen slams down into the regulator, and it has to pressurize in a certain amount of time. But you figure it out. You run your numbers. You know what it is, and they do it multiple times, and you got to take it apart, make sure it doesn't burn up. So some regulators are tested that way, and there's testing facilities that'll do that. Not something to do at home. Don't suggest that.
No, don't.
Really bad idea.
Yes.
Things could go boom. So they have special testing facilities that do that. to comply with CGAE 4. There's other things to comply to CGAE 4, but that's kind of the.
And some regulators comply with like these parts of CGAE 4, and others might comply with different parts of it. So you have to know.
So some companies do it, some companies don't have it tested. So that's kind of the deal here. The deal is with this regulator is the company that makes the body for this regulator didn't have it tested. It's still good for oxygen service.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to be careful with velocities when you get in here. It's got
speed kills, as they say, right?
Speed kills. So it's just normal, safe use of oxygen cylinders. Open that valve. Any oxygen valve, open slowly. Yeah, and you really don't want to use ball valves in oxygen service because those can easily close.
Multi-turn valves are better because they force you to go. And
takes your time.
Absolutely no.
And older people are better doing
hydrocarbons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's a. Besides adiabatic, there's part of it is adiabatic compression. It's like that fire triangle thing. So if you had, stainless steel can burn, ignite. But if you have oily stuff in there, that's going to burn a little bit easier, and you might not need the velocity to do. You might need almost no velocity.
My physics teacher used to tell us a story about how he couldn't get an oxygen cylinder open, so he put some like WD-40 on it.
That's a bad idea.
He said he learned the hard way.
That's a bad idea.
He didn't know any better.
That's don't do that at home.
Don't do that.
So when you're doing oxygen, you got to be very careful. You can get oils. I've seen oils on people's fingers and they're touching stuff, and then it can go boom.
Yep.
So you have to be careful about that. And this looks like a stainless steel regulator, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's plated though.
It's a plated brass.
And typically brass is better.
Brass and Monel are better. This has a stainless steel inlet filter. So that keeps the particles in there.
Keeps the particles in.
So that can be some concern. We had a question back in August 2003 about, can you change this out?
Oh yes. They wanted.
So you can.
It was the same.
So yes, you can. We can get it with a brass inlet filter. It's not something you can easily change out. It's not like a car air filter or something like that. Then you can say, oh yeah, I'll just swap it out with a different one.
Or your home HVAC system.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. It's not just pull it out, go to the hardware store, and find one that fits. It needs to be done ahead of time. So that's important. So it is. You can use it for oxygen service. Some people might say, you know what, we need to have it E4, ignition test certified, and then if so, you not go with this, go with a different regulator.
Yeah, and we have other regulators that are.
Yes, but not this size.
Not this size, yes.
Yeah. Another thing too we're talking about is clean. There's a CGA spec G4.1, G4 being oxygen, and then all the other ones relate to it. And that has a cleaning spec, and our stuff is clean to that spec, and that pretty much says you don't have oils in there and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ultrasonically cleaned.
Well, some stuff is ultrasonically cleaned. So. So that's kind of it for that. So bicycle pumps are us.
Yes.
Next question, I believe, is for Corey. Get to get close-up stuff on that.
Oh, the PM24.
Yeah, someone had a PM24, which is our
alarm for our switch. It's an alarm for our switchover. So.
Their question was. Let me get to the question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is fun. So. They want to be able to wire this to an external alarm. This one's not noisy enough.
It doesn't make it.
Well, they want to have it remote. Yes. I don't know. Maybe the guy wants it in his office or something. Yeah, this is pretty loud.
Yeah, it is pretty loud.
It's pretty loud. We had that on once. And
yeah, we did.
Whoa.
It is.
So it's pretty loud, but they want to have a remote one. And
it was a strobe though, so they wanted a light, right?
They wanted a horn and a strobe.
Okay.
So this has these lights flash, but it's not a strobe thing.
Yeah.
So you can't get ill looking at it. So that's the question. So
this usually goes on our switchovers, so you can tell if one side's empty. It'll let you know. And so what you do is you
want to zoom in on this? There we go. Oh, you want to take the cap off? Show them.
Okay.
It's the middle cap.
The middle cap. Yeah. Well, I was going to get to the middle cap, so can we get? I can't see.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So if you can see inside these ones, we have 2 pins for connection. And inside this one, there's 4 pins for connection. So you could actually take this, and what you do is you put our IPS.
Well, you'd have
gauges.
the IPSs hooked up.
Yeah, the IPS hooked up to these, and then it'll let you know if it which side of the switch over, the right or left side goes off. But you can also connect to this. This is an output. You can connect to this output, and you can take it anywhere. You can hook it up to a strobe light. You can hook it up to another, like you said, another PM24 that might be in the office, a remote one. So like so it's like next to your computer desk, and you can string up. So you can just.
Yeah, and you got a choice. We got a.
Yeah. And then
you got a little connect. Actually, this connector kit. You can zoom back out. We get the connector kit comes with this. So you got the pins and all the little plastic connector things. There's a proper term for them, but I don't know.
How is it? I don't know.
And sometimes occasionally we get people who lose this because they set this up and they empty the box and toss it. You can buy these replacement kits online. It's very inexpensive.
Yeah, so you'd make a little plug for it, and then the plug would go into here, and it would allow you to connect the wires, to allow you to wire up your own, whatever you want to wire to. Yeah.
Now, the wiring's kind of, there's like normally closed, normally open kind of thing, so you have to be careful. You can't just light it, tie it to a light. Now, what this... we've got a video that shows the wiring, external wiring of this.
And where do we find that video?
We can find it on our Specialty Gas Equipment Tech Support YouTube channel. You can also go to the online store and you can find
store.mathesongas.com.
You can find it there too, and it tells you how to wire it up if you want to do like just an alarm for the right, just for the left, or you want to do both combined.
So what I was trying to say is there's two pins coming out of here, 2 pins coming out of here. That you go in there, and then that corresponding pins for this come out of 4 pins out here.
Yeah. So it'll be for an alarm. So you can wire that up, and that's set up so you will alarm if get in normally open, normally closed. People get a little confused by that, but basically how this is wired up is if the wire is disconnected, you're going to get an alarm condition. So it's one way to think of it that way.
I always try to think of it like tractor trailer brakes, where they have to pressurize the brakes to open them up.
Yeah.
And if they lose the pressure, they close.
Yeah,
so that's so like it's normally the brakes are going to be on. Yeah. You have to do something to open them.
Okay. And I'll take this one. This is a question 6427 purifier. We had this on a couple weeks ago, something like that. And they had some flow rate specs on it and stuff like that. They also want to know, can you use this for acetylene? And the answer is
no. They also asked hydrocarbons too.
Hydrocarbons.
Hydrocarbons are okay.
This is
a hydrocarbon, but it's a special hydrocarbon.
This is an oxygen moisture trap. It's nice shiny black. You can buy this in the online store. It looks a little different on the online store.
The picture's blue.
Something to do with the lighting. Yes. Special thing about acetylene is dissolved in acetone, and acetone can kind of.
Everybody knows what acetone is. It takes your nail polish off.
Takes your nail polish off, and if you use that kind of stuff, and it's good for cleaning things. But it's good for cleaning things. It's not good for purifiers. We do have.
It's also not good for typical acetylene uses either.
Yeah, it burns.
It burns. That's
true. Anyways, we do have a purifier for acetylene, but all it does is it regulates the acetone content that comes out. It's an activated charcoal cartridge. It's a 454 cartridge using the 450B housing. I didn't have it. I wasn't able to get that for the prop for the show today. But
like I said, it keeps the acetylene even, so you don't get a spike.
Yeah. So some people need that for their analytical stuff, so that's what it's for. But I'm sure there probably are purifiers out there to get moisture and oxygen out of your acetylene, but we don't have that.
We don't carry that one.
So, okay, well that's all the questions we got for this week. Tune in next week for another fabulous edition of the Bill and Corey Show.
Have a good week and set your VCRs. Wow.